Welcome, everybody. We're here today for a special town board meeting. It is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, and could we all rise for the pledge, please? Councilman Rothwell, would you mind leading?
Yes, Supervisor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Tuesday, July 22nd happens to be an important day around here, and it's also Councilman Rothwell's birthday, so happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
All right, quick note for tonight, there will be a 3-minute time limit on all the comments made. If you have more comments, you will be allowed to come back up at the end of the line. Just get in the end of the line and come on back up, because when we have bigger crowds like this, we want everybody to have a chance to speak. So we'll limit you to 3 minutes, cut you off at 3, and then if you want to come back up, you can certainly do that after everybody else has had a chance. We have 2 public hearings. I have one quick announcement. We will be having another special town board meeting this Thursday, July 24th at 9:30 a.m. prior to our work session. And this is to approve a resolution to apply for a grant that is due by July 31st. So that's why we had to push this up a little bit. Okay. We're here for 2 public hearings tonight. The first public hearing we have is regarding a transfer of property. It's scheduled for 6 o'clock. It is now 6:03. And I'm going to turn it over to Councilor Howard to start this off.
All right, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The 2 public hearings, one relates to the designation of Joe Petroselli as as a construction project manager for the Town Square project and sale and redevelopment of 127 East Main Street. The second public hearing relates to a necessary and incidental transfer of a portion of parking district property that needs to go to Mr. Petroselli for the entirety of the project. It's approximately a 2,700 square foot piece of parking district property that is generally along Heidi Bear Way. We have the applicant's representatives here. They will give a presentation, which it's my understanding is designed to set forth how the applicant is qualified and eligible to acquire this piece of property and complete the contemplated project. At the conclusion of their presentation, the supervisor will open it up for public comment on the applicant's presentation. The public can make comments, ask questions. The applicant's team will keep track of those, and at the conclusion of everyone's comments and questions, we'll come back up and address those. And to the extent that they can't, there will be a 10-day written comment period, which will be held open, during which time not only the public can submit further comments and questions, but the applicant can address anything that they aren't able to address tonight. So with that, I will turn it over to the applicant's attorney, Mr. Eric Russo.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. I think it's on, yes. Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, as indicated, my name is Eric J. Russo. I'm with the law firm of Van Brunt, Jesuiak & Russo, with offices at 140 Main Street in Sayville, New York, and I am the applicant's counsel concerning this public hearing this evening. We represent J. Petroselli Riverhead Town Square, LLC, of 100 Comac Street in Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779, and it's concerning the tax parcels on the Riverhead Town map, 600, 129, 1, 13, 14, and 15, and 600, 128, 6, and 86. Mr. Petroselli, Joseph Petroselli, is J. Petroselli Development Associates, a partner with his brother John for the business at 100 Comac Street in Ronkonkoma. We are here this evening to address the Riverhead Town Board, as well as the public at large, pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 5072D. For purposes of considering whether J. Petroselli Riverhead Town Square LLC with the offices as aforestated should be designated as qualified and eligible sponsor for the property as defined in the notice that was put forth on the south side of Main Street in Riverhead, pursuant to the Master Development Agreement on file in the office of the Riverhead Town Clerk. My client is proposing to redevelop the property it acquires in accordance with the town's intended development plan as a mixed-use, 5-story building consisting of 76-room hotel with 12 condominium units, a restaurant, retail space, and underground parking for 12 stalls below the structure, with easements for access to be retained by the town of Riverhead on the tax lot 600-129-1-23. It is to be known as the Town Square Hotel Project, and we will demonstrate this evening through our presentation that Joseph Petroselli, as the J. Petroselli Riverhead Town Square LLC, and as contractor of constructing the project, J. Petroselli Development Associates, as well as J. Petroselli Development Contracting, Inc., meet the criterion necessary by the CDA, your community development agency, as a qualified and eligible sponsor. This is pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 5072, and we are going to demonstrate both financially sound and reliable, as well as with experience and management, that we have similar projects in size and scope that my client has developed. I offer the following. First of all, the Riverhead Town Board resolution, which you're familiar with, which was unanimously approved and authorized on April 18, 2023. It was resolution number 2023-295 for renovation of the existing Riverhead Town Hall, which we're standing in this evening, with experience and management, that we have similar projects in size and scope that my client has developed. I guess my twin is here somewhere. That being said, in which we are seated this evening, there was also a consultant with professional services agreement dated April 28, 2023, which allowed us to move forward with renovating this 42,000 square foot building within 5 months from May 2023 to September 2023, with a ribbon cutting on October 6, 2023, known as 4 to 6 West Main Street. The Petroselli family, with the assistance of their architect, Alex Baldamonte, put forward a budget of $1 million to renovate the building that was owned previously by the bank, and in the agreement furnished time and material on a budget that was prompt and lower than any of the other budgets or proposals that were received by the town, which there was another one about $6 million. That being said, the project itself, we have 6 documents that I've provided you with, and I've given the board a copy of the documents themselves. It's the one that I presented to you in white with the black binder, calling out the public hearing this evening, calling out the notice, also calling out the resolution that I previously read and reviewed with you, and in addition to that, the resolution and agreement with the client for the construction of the building. That being said, it also then goes through, and in our documents, we have a PowerPoint that will follow along with this, which you will be seeing this evening. I have with me during this presentation this evening 7 individuals. We have Joseph Petroselli, who's here in person to address the conclusion of the presentation. We have his nephews, James Petroselli Jr. and John Petroselli, who are the project managers for J. Petroselli Development. We also have with us Steve Schauger, who will be calling in on remote. He's the general manager of the Hyatt Place, Long Island East End at 451 East Main Street in Riverhead. We have Brian DeLuca, the executive director of the Long Island Aquarium at 431 East Main Street. Kevin Walsh, our chief engineer from VHB Engineering, who helped work with us on the site plan, development issues relating to drainage and grading and renovation of the site, and our project architect, Andrew Jambertone, who's from Andrew Jambertone and Associates in Elm Street in Huntington. We are going to take you through the presentation and point out all of the reasons why, in our opinion, we are the most qualified and eligible. If you look at the document that I provided you with, there are 6 points, and one of which is the Riverhead Town Square Development Budget Summary dated as of July 22nd, 2025. In that document, there are 3 important figures and a contingency. The first is the anticipated construction loan of $19,603,733.86 for land acquisition. And then, I apologize, the construction loan for that amount, the developer equity of $12,069,155.90, the Restore Grant Award that they received in 2024 of $1 million, and then the land uses broken out as to the land acquisition of $2,625,000, hard costs of $26,079,289.75, soft costs of $2,365,600, and contingency of $603,000, showing that the total cost in summary for the project is $32,672,889.76, which shows how they're planning on trying to finance the project and then where the expenses are going to go. Further on in the presentation, when Mr. Schauger will relate to you and go in more detail as to the uses and the funds, which is also in your binder. We also received and have a copy of a letter from Picarella, Lamont, and Gemarisi, which is our client's accountant, of 181 West Main Street in Babylon, to which he wrote a letter on July 17th to Dawn Thomas, the director of Riverhead Town Community Development Agency here in Riverhead, indicating Riverhead Town Square master developer is qualified and eligible financial verification. And he addressed the letter to Ms. Thomas and indicated that my name is Steve J. Gemarisi of the firm, as I stated, and I've been the certified public accountant for J. Petroselli, Inc., Atlantis Marine World, LLC, and the following affiliates for the past 20 years. J. Petroselli Development Associates, Atlantis Holdings Company, LLC, Atlantis Explorer, LLC, HP East End Riverhead, LLC. He indicates that he's reviewed, prepared, and/or audited the financial statements on behalf of the above entities, and he certifies and reviews that these companies for the last 20 years, and based on the size and scope of the past completed projects, in his opinion, J. Petroselli Contracting has the financial resources to successfully undertake and complete the Riverhead Town Square project, and it's signed by Stephen Gemarisi. In addition, bonds are required for a project of this type, and we have a letter from Agrisure, which dated July 16th, addressing contractor J. Petroselli Contracting, Inc. of 100 Comex Street in Ronkonkoma to the town of Riverhead. And your reliance on this letter from the bonding reference letter is to whom it may concern. J. Petroselli is currently bonded by the Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and is an account in good standing. Reserving our rights to practice our normal underwriting functions, as surety bond agents for J. Petroselli Contracting, Inc., are able to provide favorable consideration for performance and payment bonds through a bond program of $125 million single job and $200 million aggregate with Liberty Mutual Insurance Company. J. Petroselli Contracting has a current available bonding capacity of $249 million, and the stated program is based on standard industry underwriting guidelines as well as our longstanding relationship with J. Petroselli, Inc. and their extensive contract completion record. They then elaborate on Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, as you can see in the letter, referring them as AM Best as an A Excellent financial size category 15 Liberty Mutual, licensed to do business in the state of New York, and is listed on the U.S. Department of Treasury listing of approved sureties, Department Circular 5701, and further states that Liberty Mutual, has a certificate of authority from the Department of the Treasury with an underwriting limitation of $1,897,231 Liberty Mutual Company meets the criterion set forth in the general conditions, and we would expect the execution of any bonds would be subject to review of the final contract terms, conditions, and financing by our client ourselves, as well as satisfactory evaluation of normal underwriting requirements at the time the bond is requested. He explains that there's no assumption of liability, nor is it a bid bond or performance payment bond. It is issued only as a bonding reference as requested from us by our client to present to the board so that you understand that they have the necessary surety. That being said, we also have a letter from TD Bank dated July 17, 2025, directed to Dawn Thomas, the Director of the Community Development Agency in Riverhead, regarding Atlantis Holding Company, LLC, and HP East End Riverhead, LLC. And it's signed by Dominic De Silva, their Vice President, who indicates Atlantis Holding Company and HP East End Riverhead, LLC has been a valued customer of TD Bank in excess of 14 years. We presently extend credit to the company in the amount of $11,366,673.50. The entire relationship has been handled in a very satisfactory manner, and we hold the company in the highest regards. And that letter was requested to show the level of comfort that the lending institution, of which there are three that are presently interested in the project besides Dime. There's also TD Bank, and in addition, I believe it's Commonwealth is the other bank lending institution that has expressed interest in the project. That being said, I would like, and I will go first to letters of support, and then I will return, because in your binder, we provided you with sources of funds and use of funds and a town square development projected revenue performance, which Steve Schauger, who is our General Manager at the Hyatt Place, Long Island East End, will review with you in terms of going through those numbers. But in addition to that, we have a series of 9 letters that we've received over within the last week and a half indicating support for the project. One of the most interesting is that from Long Island Science Center, who is going to be a occupant to the property to the immediate west, which indicates that the Board of Long Island Science Center is in favor of J. Petroselli Development Associates being named master developer for the Town Square project. Mr. Petroselli has a strong pillar of revitalization of downtown Riverhead, commencing with the aquarium and continuing with the Hyatt Hotel and the Preston House Hotel. As a continuous property owner to the town square, contiguous property owner to the town square, the Board of Long Island Science Center believes J. Petroselli Development Associates is a good choice for the development of the town square. We also have a letter from the Riverhead Chamber of Commerce, also dated July 21, 2025, indicating to the members of the town board on behalf of the Riverhead Chamber of Commerce, we're writing to express strong support for J. Petroselli Development Associates to be named as master developer of the town square. The Petroselli family has a proud and proven history of investing in the revitalization of downtown Riverhead for more than 25 years. Their commitment to our community is evident not only in the projects they have completed, but in the trust they have built through meaningful partnerships and consistent quality development. The proposed mixed-use development, which includes a hotel, condominium, blend of retail and food and beverage outlets, represents a critical step in activating the town square. This privately funded project will not only enhance the vitality of the square, but also generate foot traffic and energy that will benefit surrounding small businesses and cultural institutions. They go on to state that the leadership of J. Petroselli Development Associates and the town square will evolve into a dynamic, welcoming destination for residents and visitors alike, and their thoughtful approach and longstanding dedication to Riverhead make them the ideal partner for this transformative initiative, and they support, if the board so designates them, as master developer. That, in addition to the 7 others, which I will just read off the individual companies' names, was Woolworth Revitalization, LLC, and it was addressed as Michael Butler, managing partner, recites about the proposed designation of master developer J. Petroselli. We also have the American Resort Management indicating that there's strong support for J. Petroselli Development to be named master developer of the town square, in which Petroselli American Resort Management has provided professional and consulting management services for establishments located in Riverford over the last 10 years. The partnership they share with Petroselli family has provided opportunities for our local participation in Riverhead as well as our growth with national endeavors. They go on to recite that they have a 25-year history and a commitment to the community, and I'm summarizing, but you can read for yourselves how that this is a critical step in activating the town square by having a mixed-use development of the site that is being proposed. And they strongly recommend, again, based on their approach and long-standing dedication to Riverhead, Petroselli is the ideal partner for this transformative initiative. There is also Discover Long Island, which is indicating, again, 25 years working relationship with the Petroselli family and attesting to the fact that the proposal for the hotel, condominium units, and retail and food beverage outlets is a critical step in activating the town square, and that the project should proceed with the vitality that is being proposed by the applicant. There's also a letter from Jerry and the Mermaid reciting something very similar, which is an adjoining property owner to the east of the Hyatt Place. And last, there are two more letters, one from North Fork Chocolate Company going through and indicating the relationship that they've shared and the value of the relationship and what it will do and be a benefit to the town. There's also a letter from the Rotary of Riverhead, which also comes out and indicates again that they have a proven history investing in the revitalization of downtown for 25 years, and it's a critical step in going forward, and they should be selected as the master developer. And lastly, there's an insurance letter from another interested company here in Riverhead, which is NIFAS type agency, which also supports and recommends the J. Petroselli Development Associates. That being said, I would just reiterate for you that we have 7 members of our team to come and address in the PowerPoint what we have before you. And that being said, it's our position that the PowerPoint and our consultants will outline and review the shared town vision connecting downtown East Main Street to the Peconic Riverfront for the new Riverhead Town Square. And that, going forward, I would like to introduce both John Petroselli and then James Petroselli Jr., who will address the Petroselli commitment to the town of Riverhead over the last 25 years and their family's financial investment as a tourist donation. If the board recalls, there are 3 historic structures that have been part of the Petroselli development here in the town of Riverhead: East Lawn, Howell House, and Preston House. And that historic preservation has been garnered and enhanced with the efforts of Petroselli in a program from which they have done development here on Long Island from New York City to the East End. It's going on since 1959, closely approaching 70 years, with their experience in the construction industry, delivering projects on time and within budget. So with that, I would ask that Mr. Petroselli, John, come forward and review with you the PowerPoint presentation as it relates to the experience and projects that the family has undertaken.
Mr. Russo, I'd
Yes,
just like
ma'am.
to add, I received also a letter of the town board from Wendy Weiss from East End Arts as well.
Oh, very
Today,
good.
so very supportive as well.
Thank you. These letters were coming in over the last week and a half, and the ones I've recited to you, the last ones I saw were as of like 3:30 today. So I stopped at that point trying to put the document binder together. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Mr. Russo. If I may, people, we would take the conversations outside, please, while we're listening to the speakers. And also, if you happen to be live streaming on your phone, which I think is happening in here, shut it off or go outside. It's interrupting what we can hear up here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. With that being said, John Petroselli.
I think I'll have to adjust this, Eric. All right, Eric, thanks. Let me just run through here. All right, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about our firm. In 1997, Petroselli answered the call for the redevelopment plan for Riverhead. A plan was put in place for a multi-phase development, starting with the aquarium, Hyatt Place East End, the Sea Star Ballroom, Treasure Cove Resort Marina, the Preston House, and Hotel. We've also worked to preserve 3 historic buildings on Main Street, which include East Lawn House, Howell House, and the Preston House. In addition, we support and house free of charge the New York Marine Rescue Center, the only facility in New York State authorized to rescue, rehabilitate, and release endangered sea turtles. Our commitment to the town spans over 25 years, with continued investment and vision to further develop Riverhead into a tourist destination. J. Petroselli Contracting has completed significant projects across Long Island and New York City, which include the Long Island Duck Stadium, the Jones Beach Theater renovation, various Long Island YMCA's and TD Banks, and the Long Island Children's Museum, as well as some of our high-rise apartments in New York City and the boroughs. Just a little bit about the history of our company. It was established in 1959 by John Petroselli Sr., who's my grandfather, in Bohemia, New York. Driven by his passion for construction and dedication to family, he built the foundation of what has become one of the most respected firms in the industry today. With a commitment to integrity and a client-centered approach, the company has experienced significant growth over the years. And today we operate out of a 30,000 square foot facility in Ronkonkoma. Just a little bit about our focus. Our extensive expertise in construction enables us to deliver an efficient process while prioritizing cost effectiveness. As active developers with a portfolio of investments across Long Island, we offer a unique perspective, allowing us to approach each project from both the development and the construction sides. This dual insight provides significant value to our clients, ensuring a deep understanding of project timelines and alignment with your development schedule. Over the years, we have had the privilege of serving numerous clients throughout the New York metro region, consistently delivering results that meet their needs and exceed expectations. Now I'm going to pass it off to my cousin Jim, and he'll take it from there.
All right. Thank you, John. So what we focus on for you. When we say what we focus on for you, it's more than a tagline. It's a commitment we've stood behind for over 70 years. Every client, every project, every team member, our focus is always aligned with one mission, which is delivering results that exceed expectations. So let's walk through what it looks like. Time. J. Petroselli has built a reputation on delivering projects on time and within budget. That doesn't happen by chance. It's the product of well-coordinated field and office personnel, clear lines of communication, and a disciplined schedule. When communication flows properly, the entire process is streamlined, and project efficiency becomes the norm, not the exception. Cost. We know that early decisions have long-term consequences, and that's why pre-construction services are a critical part of our approach. We work alongside design teams to identify budget impacts early, propose smart alternatives, and keep the project aligned with your vision. It's how we avoid costly surprises and deliver value without compromising design intent. Quality. Quality is never negotiable, and it's more than just meeting spec. It's about how the job is built. Our team is made up of professionals with the skill sets, training, and real-world experience to properly interpret design documents and ensure that every element is built as intended. With the right means and methods in place, we deliver a finished product that reflects the original vision down to the last detail. Talk a little bit about pre-construction. Pre-construction. We don't just look at a job from the ground up. We take a broader view. J. Petroselli's pre-construction process bridges the gap between design and build. Our team provides guidance on feasibility, budgeting, constructability, and scheduling. This proactive approach creates a seamless transition into construction, giving everyone from the owner to the architect confidence from day one. And finally, collaboration. And perhaps most importantly, we believe in collaboration. Our staff brings decades of field-tested knowledge to the table. We work hand in hand with owner reps, design teams, and consultants to ensure alignment at every stage. Strong execution only happens when there's strong collaboration. And it's this team-first mentality that ensures satisfaction from start to finish. So beyond construction itself, we offer a comprehensive range of services designed to support and safeguard every aspect of your project. We maintain full compliance with local regulations and prioritize on-site safety, reinforced through routine site inspections. We manage risk proactively, resolve disputes swiftly, and ensure transparent communication among all stakeholders. Our expertise in procurement and contract negotiation ensures efficient coordination with both contractors and subcontractors. And through detailed planning, scheduling, and budget management, we drive predictability, giving you the clarity and control needed at every stage. And I think now we're turning it over to Brian. Yeah.
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, at this point, I would like to direct our discussion to the source of funds and uses of funds, as well as the projection that we had for the town square proposed revenue performance for the project. For that purpose, our speaker on this issue will be Stephen Schauger, the general manager of the Hyatt Place, Long Island East End. Unfortunately, he is not with us this evening, but we have to have him come in on a Zoom, and I believe I've given him the instructions how to do so, and I believe he's coming in now. I know that we asked him to be able to join us this evening. I know he's watching our presentation as it goes forward. Mr. Schauger, are you able to hear us? For that purpose, our
I am. Can you hear
speaker
me?
on this issue will be Stephen Schauger, the general manager of the Hyatt Place, Long Island East End.
Hello, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, he is not with us this evening, but we have to have him come in on a Zoom, and I believe I've given him the instructions how to do so, and I believe he's coming in now.
Stand by
I
a
know
moment.
that we asked him to be able to join us this evening. I know he's watching our
Hello,
presentation
can you hear me?
as it goes forward. Mr. Schauger,
Steve, we can hear
are
you, but
able
we're having
to
some
hear us?
audio
For
issues
that
here in
purpose,
the town
our
board
I am.
room,
Can
so
you hear me?
stand
on
by.
this issue will be
Speak up.
Stephen
Okay, I'll sit
Schauger, the
tight.
general manager of the Hyatt Place, Long Island East End.
Hello, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, he is not with us this evening, but we have to have him come in on a Zoom, and I believe I've given
Stand
All
by.
right, how about now? Can I
asked
speak?
him to be able to join us this evening. I know he's watching our
Hello, can
presentation
you hear me?
as it goes forward. Mr.
Steve,
Schauger,
we can hear
are
you, but
able
we're having
to
some
hear us?
audio
For
issues
that
here in
purpose,
the.
It happens. That's why we should do away with Zoom altogether.
Okay, Steve, can you hear us? We're ready for you if you're ready.
I'm still on if you can hear me.
Yes,
I'm
we
happy
can.
to continue. Just don't know if you can hear me or not.
We can hear you fine, Steve.
All right, great. So my name is Steve Schauger. I am the general manager of the Hyatt Place, Long Island East End. Was lucky enough to start in that position back in 2011 when we opened up the hotel. I am also a former resident of the town of Riverhead, born and raised in Riverhead as well, and was, as I said, lucky enough to start that position and not be part of the brain drain, and was able to move back home. I have 20 years of experience in the hospitality industry. Started working on this project in its infancy with the Petrocelli Group. Eric dived in a little bit on some of the documents that we have provided to the town, and I want to expand a little bit more on that and how those documents were created. First of which is the development budget summary, and then the development budget sources and uses of funds. This is something that we put in place both with myself as well as with Joe Petrocelli and his team. We break out the sources of the funds between the construction loan, developer equity, the Restore New York grant that was awarded in 2024. But then it also breaks out the uses of the funds, the land acquisition as per the master developer agreement, and hard costs such as general requirements, site work, masonry, metal, wood, plastics, et cetera, et cetera. It also goes into some soft costs as well as the land acquisition. This is something that we feel extremely confident in, put a lot of effort and time into breaking this out to really hone in on the cost of this project. And that's something that we have provided in regards to the qualified and eligible hearing. The second document is the Town Square Development Projected Revenue Performance. The sources and uses really gets us from purchase of the land to C of O, whereas the Town Square developer projected revenue and performance takes us past that. That's opening and beyond in regards to revenues. We have 14 years of data collected, obviously, from the Hyatt Place when we opened up. And then also have other means and other reports that we use to create this forecasted or projected revenue for years 1 through 10 that we have provided to the town board. This is something that we feel, again, very confident in and obviously break out between occupancy projections, ADR, which is average daily rate, and also total revenue projections for the property. So those are things that have been given to the town board in regards to the qualified and eligible hearing. So thank you very much.
Mr. Supervisor and members of the board, the references that he's talking about are in the folder that I provided you with. The sources of funds, as I referenced earlier, is the construction loan of $19,603,733.86, which is 60% of the source of funds. The developer equity, which is $12,069,155.90, is 36.94%. The Restore New York Grant Award, which has already been received, is $1 million of 306 for a total of source of funds of 100% at $32,672,889.76, which, as you look at that schedule in the document that I provided you, matches the figure on the total project costs. So the land acquisition, as was agreed upon between the parties, is $2,625,000. And then it lists about 12 to 15 items of hard costs, ranging, as Stephen was trying to break out for you, and we don't need to go through individual numbers, but it lists concrete, masonry, metal, wood, plastics, doors, conveying systems, special construction, insurance, electrical costs. And then for the soft costs, he references architectural engineering, engineering appraisals, closing costs, accounting, points financing, which is now showing you the difference between one for the hard costs at 26 million approximately, soft costs about 3,365,000, and then summarizing the rest, getting you back to the total of 32,672,889. And the other chart that he is referencing is the second page in the binder you were given, and it also then gives it to you in terms of projections for 10 years, so that you see how they, based on their operations in the existing hotels, project how they are going to be successful here in terms of actual dollars and cents, which is a major criterion that you need to focus on in order to determine not only is he eligible based on experience, timelines, he's also got the wherewithal financially to take you from building permit through until CO. So the timeline that's projected and what they're anticipating, and Mr. Petroselli will go through that. That's one of the last items here in the binder where it talks about starting and the start time to the finish time, which will be in 2027. So with that, we'll continue, and Mr. DeLuca will come forward, and he will address the board.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Happy birthday. In the late 90s, the town of Riverhead put out a RFP looking for an attraction or economic generator. Bissett and Petroselli answered the call with a multi-phase project plan and went ahead and purchased the land from the town and began building the aquarium. In addition, the Marine Rescue Center at the time was Okinos, was on the property and financially supported by the town. That all changed when Petroselli purchased the property. The plan was set in motion to build a multi-phase project to support the town's East Main Street urban renewal plan. So looking at the photos on the presentation, the aquarium is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. Very excited about that. We just had a nice big party. 25 years of making waves and taking care of those precious collection of animals. And of course, the Hyatt project moved on to the Preston project, restored that 1905 house, and then built another boutique hotel there. So it's been a multi-phase, and this is another phase of that initial project plan back from the early 90s. Our team has a committed endeavor here in this town. Both past and present staff volunteer for various organizations and committees to support our community and its goals. This continued support has had a tremendous positive impact, not only on our community at large, but within the downtown of Riverhead. So we have served on the Business Advisory Committee, the Parking District Committee, DRI Committee, TOD Committee, the Riverhead Chamber. Steve Schager, who has spoken to GM of the Hyatt, and Preston has served on the bid as 10 years in that role, and also serves on the Suffolk County Downtown Revitalization Grant, representing Catherine Stark for our district, and helping allocate grants for all of Suffolk County and for downtowns. And Riverhead's been an award for that. Alberto, the Preston Hotel Manager, serves on the bid board currently. Danny Lanieri, our Food and Beverage Director, was the past president of the Rotary and currently still serves as a member. 7 years ago, I initiated Reflections Riverhead, or Art in the Park, working with the community development team and getting grants, local artists, Clayton Orheck, aquarium artist, Eli Fishman, he's our resident artist there, bringing lighted sculptures to Grangerville Park for free public art experience. There's not another park on Long Island that has lighted sculptures like we do in Riverhead, and really proud to have a hand in initiating that and playing a role in that beautiful park. And we're going to continue. There's a nice little turtle sculpture right over there that lights up at night. I'm also the president of the East End Tourism Alliance. I've been operating that for 13 years, which supports Alive on 25, the Reflections Riverhead, and chamber events. It's through county contract, through the hotel motel tax, and we allocate $25,000 annually for event production budget each year to help the town with their events. And we also have a sizable marketing budget to support Riverhead town events as well as East End events as a whole. So, we are really focused on supporting our hospitality and our tourism industry. In addition to this volunteer support by our staff, the aquarium is one of the largest contributors to both the bid and parking district tax for downtown. So we are committed to this town as employees and supporting all the different committees that the town has. The vision of mixed use and activation. So the following part of this presentation is going to get in-depth, and Kevin and Andy are going to get into some of the images and concepts there. But the vision of this mixed use is the town square will be an open space for public to enjoy with tiered levels from Main Street to the river. We always wanted to open up the river. We got that nice 90 feet wide now. And rising of the town square topography to assist with flood mitigation at the river's edge. And referencing the town of Riverhead's pattern book recommendations that were provided by the town was looking for additional hospitality, unique local food and beverage, ancillary retail, and expanded downtown living, which is the condo aspect in this hotel. That proposed town square project brings all this together that the pattern book recommendations were made by all of the consultants, and we're excited to bring that forward. Kevin's up.
At this point, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, our chief engineer, Kevin Walsh from VHB Engineering, will now address the design prospects of the houses.
I'm going to be very brief. I'm just going to take you through a little bit of the context of the site, which you see on the slide up there. The slide itself shows the proposed configuration of the property and how it fits into the plaza area. And this was developed based on surveys prepared by our office for the development parcel as well as some of the surrounding parcels that fit into the area. And what this depicts is the assemblage of the parcels needed to accommodate the hotel development and integrate it into the plaza. The orange rectangle that hopefully you can see there represents the current tax lot, which is to be modified to accommodate the hotel and the plaza and playground area. The blue rectangle represents the proposed lot area for the hotel, which requires the transfer of 2 strips of property on either side from the adjacent town-owned properties, about 14 feet from the property to the west and about 10 feet from the property to the east, which will allow for the hotel building and service and entry areas to the hotel. To the south of the hotel, the town will retain the remainder of that tax lot, which is shown in purple. And that will also provide for an easement between the hotel parcel and the Heidi Bear Way for access to the hotel for parking, trash removal, and other needs, and that's the area that you see in yellow there. We're aware of the design of the park and the plaza area being undertaken by the town's consultants. We've been provided with the preliminary plans for the plaza and the park improvements, including utilities and stormwater. So when it's time to actually move forward with the civil design for the hotel, we expect to be working with the town's consultant to coordinate stormwater facilities, utilities, and all of the common work that needs to be done in the plaza area. Okay? So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Giambertone or to Eric for the fun stuff.
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, I'd also like to point out the area that you're looking at on that diagram in front of you. To the east is the East End Arts buildings that are there that have to be lifted and also relocated and shifted during the construction in order to allow for the construction. Then there's the area to the west, which is the Town Square park that's going to be discussed by Mr. Giambertone, and to the west of that is the Long Island Science Center, which this board has addressed and is working with to assist them in terms of their site plan review and amendment in order to be developed at that location and remain there.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, ladies and gentlemen of the board, members of the community. My name is Andrew Giambertone. I'm the architect for this project. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to this project by Mr. Petroselli, as we are no strangers to this type of development or to Riverhead in general. My firm designed the Preston House Hotel and Restaurant, as well as the restoration of the Howell House. Our other North Fork projects include the Shoals Hotel and Marina, as well as the renovation and restoration of the North Fork Table and Inn. Additionally, we are well-versed in historic restoration and adaptive reuse projects, including the restoration of the Sands Point Lighthouse, the Comset State Park Summer Cottage, the DeForest Estate in Cold Spring Harbor, and most recently, the adaptation of the Marshall Fields Milking Barn and Dairy Center, which will be converted into a interpretive learning center at Comset State Park. What you see before you is, in the next few slides, is the culmination of many months of collaboration between Joe Petroselli, myself, Barry Long of Urban Design Associates, the town historian Richard Wines, the New York State Office of Historic Preservation, and other members of the Petroselli organization. Barry Long of Urban Design Associates, through an extensive effort of community outreach and cooperation with the town of Riverhead, recognized that the waterfront along the Peconic River was of far greater value to the community than its present use as a parking lot and the back of house to Main Street retail spaces. If there could be a visual and physical connection between Main Street and the waterfront, it would greatly enhance the character and utilization of the downtown area as well as the waterfront. A forward-thinking town government saw the opportunity to utilize these properties to accomplish this goal. So working closely with the Petroselli organization, Urban Design Associates, as well as the town officials and Skolnick Landscape Architectural Firm, the conceptual design for this project took place. A hotel building that would front on Main Street and have retail space along the length of the square would provide the anchor for this new project. It would also provide community activation and culminate in a restaurant at the waterfront portion of the project. To support the community, we're getting there. The square itself. To support the community engagement, playgrounds, interactive experiences, and adaptive amphitheater at the far end of the property, at the end of East End Arts, would also be developed. As you see, under the guidance of the Petroselli organization, after several years of input at this point, refinement and cooperation with Urban Design Associates, town officials, and the New York State Office of Historic Preservation has resulted in the designs we now see, and that process continues even today. We've developed this project along a series of months where we started with the design you see on the left, and that was developed and coordinated through assistance with Urban Design Associates, as well as the New York State Office of Historic Preservation, and Richard Wines, the local historian. The concept of the design is that the buildings be centered on the Suffolk Theater. The building you see to the north of the page is the hotel building itself. In the middle of the page, you see the square, and at the bottom of the page, you see the Long Island Science Center. The concept is that the square is a combination of hardscape and landscape areas, providing shade and respite for our occupants. As stated earlier, the town had the forward-thinking thought to engage the Army Corps of Engineers to understand what the potential flood impacts might be on the development of this site, so that this site would be free from flood damage over the next 50 years or more. As a result, the hotel project is slated to be at elevation 13, where the current riverfront is at elevation 4. Through a series of step terraces and walkways, you walk up from the waterfront up to the town square itself, up to the Main Street area, which is approximately elevation 12.5. So the buildings were designed with that thought in mind. We see here that the lower level of the hotel project will accommodate private parking for the 12 condominium units that will be located at the rooftop. The hotel itself will consist, as I said, of a lobby and reception area along Main Street. Directly behind the reception area will be a coffee shop that accommodates both hotel guests as well as the public accessing off of the square. One of the important elements of this design is to encapsulate activation from the public along the square, and as a result, we were asked to develop retail space that you see in the center of the project there. And at the far end of the building is a restaurant that overlooks the Peconic River and is open to the public.
Folks, I understand it's a little hard to see on the monitors. This will all be on the website tomorrow, and on our website you can zoom right in. Actually, it's probably going to be on later on tonight. Everything we have here will be on later on tonight, and you can zoom in on your own and see it much clearer than I see people squinting out there. I'm squinting from here, so I understand. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No worries. The second floor consists of 22 guest rooms organized around a central corridor. At the far end of the hotel is a two-story open space open to the restaurant below, and in the front we see a two-story space open to the foyer. The third floor consists of an additional 28 rooms with some two-room units, and then on the fourth floor there are another 26 rooms for a total of 76 guest rooms. At the upper level, there are 12 private condominium units, and as we will see in the design of the building, part of the pattern book developed by Urban Design Associates was to maintain the street line along Main Street and have the building step back so as to mitigate the mass of the building as it presents itself on Main Street. This building was designed with those guidelines of the pattern book and Barry Long's guidance as well. And it's been a process that has evolved over historic references for buildings in town and ultimately resulted in the building that we have at this point. We see here the back of the building, the restaurant on the upper left-hand side, and the east side of the building that faces East End Arts. So it has been our honor and privilege to have the opportunity to work with the Petroselli organization, and in particular with Joe Petroselli, on this project as well as other projects. It is our firm belief, and it's been confirmed by Barry Long, that this project will create the required activation to make the town square a successful project and will enhance the community at large. Thank you.
And now, from the gentleman you've been dying to hear from, his name has been mentioned in numerous times this evening, Joseph Petroselli, who is going to speak on behalf of his organization, his construction experience, and his desire to continue to enhance Riverhead.
Which button am I hitting? Which button moves me along? All right. This one over here. Yep. Everybody knows I'm not the public speaker type. But, so you've been hearing activation. Activation was the key word of the whole square project. And during the whole design, activation is the key word. And because we need to handpick and go after clients or people that will fill our space that are going to create that activation that we need, kids and families, as it's always been kids and families. So our vision and investment is to develop approximately 78,000 square feet. Let me catch up here. Here we go. Is that where I'm up?
One more. There you go.
Right. So we estimate our project to be about $29 million to $32 million. A risky investment still. But I think we know more about this town than most developers. And our numbers of our hotel should help us get through and make this a very successful project. We propose to build a branded hotel with 76 rooms. We've had discussions with some of the top hotel brands, very excited to come to our town. They know about Hyatt, they know about Preston, so they're anxious to be part of it. Once it's complete, our guests of the hotel would utilize the proposed First Street parking. So because we're not going to have the parking garage in place, we are going to utilize the parking spaces behind the Suffolk Theater in an interim basis. So that'll allow us to at least get the hotel going, get the square going, and then we'll be able to work with the town to finally create that parking garage that's going to be so well needed. The hotel footprint is planned for the east side of the Upper Town Square, adjacent to the East End Arts buildings. The hotel lobby and entrance will be off Main Street, which will have valet parking. Let's see. So our project includes 3 retail spaces ranging from 900 to 930 square feet, perfect for unique shops, coffee shops, a full-service restaurant, which we named Sweezy's for a placeholder, which I think is a good idea. We don't want to forget our history. Sweezy's was a big part of this town, and I think we need to carry forward that recognition of Sweezy's. So everything overlooks the river, which is a great view. And we're expecting residents and tourists to flock here. Each space features large storefront windows, high ceilings, indoor and outdoor seating. It's going to have all the amenities of utilities, grease traps, all that stuff. Life safety, fiber optics, service, handicap, all that. Additional space outside on the town square. We'll allow 30 to 40 seating, Alfredo kind of style, al fresco, excuse me. And while we're in the construction phase, we'll be able to incorporate specific designs as we target tenants that we want. We don't want to just hang a sign out for rent. We're going to go specifically and target tenants. So the building uses are part of providing activation to the square. Then the use of selected tenants will promote popular gathering spaces for friends and families. The vision to continue creating attractions like the aquarium to ultimately create a destination to further possible. So the idea of the aquarium gave us an attraction, but it didn't give us a destination. So the more attractions we can create, the bigger the destination we can create to Riverhead. And that's going to fill the hotels, that's going to bring people to downtown. So that's important. So the fifth floor is interesting because we came with the idea with the condos on the top, just to change things up in the town. Miami calls it condotels, which is a pretty fun, sounds unique, which offers ownership opportunities to the heart of Riverhead. The units will range from studios to 2 bedrooms. Our concept includes dedicated parking underneath the hotel for those 12 condo units. So we'll have 12 condo units, 8 one-bedroom units, 2 studio units, and 2 bedroom units, 2 bedroom units. So what am I up to? So progress to date. So we've been doing this for a while now, right, everybody? It's been a lot of work, different concepts, different ideas. We saw the demolition of the former Sears and Sweezy's buildings in October of 2021. We proposed active involvement in the Town Square project beginning in 2022. We collaborated with the town of Riverhead consultants, UDA, Skolnick, Architecture, LVF, throughout the concept design process, and of course, Andy. Participate in all the public hearings as possible to support this community engagement and this big undertaking and town-changing project. We work closely with the town of Riverhead and the CDA to secure downtown revitalization initiatives, DRI grants and funding, and partook in the DRI committee helping guide the strategic allocation of the funds. So, the recommended action plan, as first time I ever saw this was called RAP. I'm like, what is this RAP? So the RAP is to develop and work with the town to create and submit development plans, which we're working on. Coordinate with the team, set up a project team, and hold regular meetings to stay aligned on the goals and the progress. Start the site plans and track milestones, begin the site plan process within 60 days of the study period, and track the key project milestones. We're going to build and maintain the project. We're going to develop the hotel, condos, and retail, and the public spaces, and maintain the town square for 10 years. So, we've come a long way. And I appreciate my team for being here, and I appreciate the opportunity to come here once again and try to make Riverhead great again. Thank you. Oh, the schedule. So here's our schedule. It's 14 months. That's what we need to get it going. We want to start as early as we can. We're looking at November, I think, right? And some demolition and on our way. Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, in conclusion, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to make this presentation to you this evening and share our thoughts and respond to the issues that are related as qualified and eligible under 5072 of General Municipal Law. In our opinion, we have stated through our budget information that we received and put together the financial wherewithal in order to bring this project to fruition. And based on our experience and based on our financial information that we had over the other projects we've had here in the town, inclusive of the renovation of this building so that you could have a municipal entity to function within, that we have the experience in order to proceed on your behalf. As we look at this, we believe that the bonding information, the construction information will take us from undertaking it from permit process through and complete to the process of CO. So again, we thank you for the opportunity, and if you have any other questions, we'd be happy to respond. And depending on what the question relates to, it will relate to various members of our team to respond. So I thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. I just want to let everybody know who's watching this tonight is we are not going to render a decision tonight. We just got this information that you just saw at the start of the meeting, so we need to digest it and everything, spend some time going through it as a board. And at this point in time, I would ask my board members, do you have any specific questions for any of the presenters?
No.
I don't. Okay. Then at this time, I would like to remind everybody, for public comment, we would have you come up, and we're going to limit you to 3 minutes, because I think there's going to be quite a few people coming up, and then we'll let you come back up again after everybody else has spoke. So anybody who wants to come up and comment just specifically on the qualified and eligible hearing and also the land use, that's what this is for tonight. Comments on the qualified and eligible hearing and the land transfer, I should say. So anybody would like to come up, state your name?
Jerry Halpin, Riverhead, and so I am absolutely pro-revitalization of our downtown. My comments and concerns and questions are focused on how this contract affects us as taxpayers. And so my first thought is that this doesn't sit well after going through the contract myself, because I do see the 7% that will be taken off the purchase price, and I wonder why there isn't a cap on that 7% that would ensure steady work and making sure that the CO happens on time. We're also going to be paying there'll be a price of $150 for 10 years to maintain that property and others. And while we're taking part of the East End Arts Council's property away from them, we are shrinking that size down. And that does concern me as a taxpayer, because that will be given to this company. And oftentimes in our town, we talk about, and so did Mr. Petroselli tonight, about it's all about kids and family. And while that's all well and good when it's convenient, when we're taking from a space that's safe for artists, that does concern me. So I just would like an answer from this board on that. We're also going to lose part of our current town square, which we're also giving up to the developer, which I'm not really sure why we can't retain that ourselves. I'm not, would like an answer from our board for that. And to build this, what I understand from the contract and from other things that I've seen, we will be losing handicap parking spots in our downtown overall development, which does concern me because we are building an adaptive park, which does service the people of that population in our community. So it seems counterproductive to me. In the contract, the master developer is requiring IDA tax abatements for this to go through. And I do have a concern with that because in January of 4th, 2016, looking at Mr. Petroselli's financials, sound all well and good here tonight. In 2016, he and Mr. DeLuca from Atlantis Holding told the IDA Aquarium may had to close its doors because if they didn't receive the tax abatements at that time because of their financial situation. And so it is 9 years later, but I would like to know from our town board so that we don't have another debacle like we did out at EPCAL where that happened, where you were the swing vote on that. So the last time that happened, I just want to make sure that we're doing that. Also, I know that legally we do not have to have an appraisal, but everyone in this room and our entire town does do that for their home. So it would just be nice for us to know what our property is worth going forward, which would help us, which leads to what you ran on in your last election, which is transparency. I do understand, but this deal and this contract, I do believe our town board could do better and could fight harder for. So please, please, please do that. That's what I'm asking you. So thanks.
Anybody else would like to come up to the microphone?
Hi, Cindy Clifford. First of all, I do believe that the board and Ms. Thomas and Mr. Petroselli have all been doing their best to move our town ahead to its next incarnation. But I'm not certain this path reflects the wants and needs of the majority of our residents, or at least those who take the time to follow what goes on and form opinions. Most of what we've seen come to downtown has not lived up to its original promises, or at least the expectations that were stated as the basis of the approvals. We can go as far back as Tanger, which downtown business people supported, believing it would drive traffic to Main Street rather than reroute it to the outlets where it would stay. The same with Atlantis, which, while it has put Riverhead on the map, has also not resulted in its patrons visiting our restaurants and whatever shops have come and gone in the meantime. And of course, with whatever financial success it has had, the town coffers have not profited as its tax abatements have been and continue to be extended. Approving our first downtown multi-story apartment, Summerwind, paved the way for subsequent five-story Peconic Crossing, which was pitched in part as artist housing, which fell to the wayside nearly immediately. By then, all but guaranteeing approval for the Gallo Building, the Shipwreck Apartments, the Heatherwood Building. All these oversized additions were promoted, at least in part, as a way to increase foot traffic that would support our local businesses and return our downtown to being a thriving, walkable community. That is not the outcome we've experienced. All due respect to Mr. Petroselli, the mixed-use portion of the building sounds fabulous, but I really don't know about a third hotel on Main Street, not to mention the additional condo units, as being a benefit to the goal of creating a town square, a gathering place to revitalize our downtown district. Shouldn't we be more focused on what would benefit our local and area residents? Couldn't you just maybe go up on Route 58 instead? Just a suggestion. And with all the talk of the importance of opening Main Street up to the river, again, as Jerry just mentioned, we're concerned about considering reducing the view and giving away additional footage on either side of the 127 Main Street property. Who's going to benefit from further reducing the town square area and the iconic and cultural and historic East End Arts property in order to accommodate a privately owned five-story business? Not the residents. And again, there is a question about whether this is going to fit in a community that has the sort of budgeting and income that Riverhead has. It looks like a pretty high-end, like lovely, but it looks like a pretty high-end hotel. Also wondering about the benefit to the community with the intention of earmarking 70-something parking spaces in an as-yet-to-be-built $15 million parking garage that will further forever change the character of what we have here and have been trying to hold on to. And again, why are IDA benefits such a given that they're already written into the contract that sits waiting for signatures? At the very least, we'd like you to consider carving out school district and fire district taxes for the good of our students, families, and fire department. Finally, I hope you consider any of what I ask and what I say as a request just to take another look, to consider residents and taxpayers. We all want what's best for the town and for the people who call it home. We just don't always have the same perspective. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe Ayula. I was born and raised in Port Washington, and I am the curator and co-founder of the Long Island Aquarium. I'm proud to say this year we are celebrating our 25th anniversary. Personally, I've been on the site for 30 years when I came on board with what was then Okino's back in 1995. So almost half my life I've been on site in Riverhead on Main Street. And during that time, I've seen and lived and at times endured the trials and tribulations of Main Street. The first proposal for a public aquarium on Long Island was back in 1992 when myself, Jim Bissett, and Joe Petroselli applied for a proposal in Port Jefferson. 8 years later, we landed in Riverhead, and we're actually glad that we landed here. At the Long Island Aquarium, we have done all the designs and builds in-house, creating a great team along the way. I've been in the trenches with Joe Petroselli the entire time, mixing cement, gluing pipe, whatever it took to get the job not only done, but done with excellence. Without his vision, artistry, and dedication, there would not be a Long Island Aquarium and all that surrounds it. Reviewing this project is a slam dunk, and it will take Riverhead well into the future.
Thank you.
Is there something coming up?
John McAuliffe, Roanoke Landing in Riverhead. First, I want to ask a couple of procedural questions, and Supervisor, you've helped a lot in saying a bit, but do you have any sort of a time frame about when you see coming to a conclusion and bringing this back?
Well, as I stated, this will
board?
be open for 10 days for written comment after tonight,
Right.
which will bring it to August 1st. After that, we can, or during that time and by the end of August 1st, we will look at the comments that come in and make a decision shortly thereafter. So it could happen, I'm assuming, as quick as August 5th, or maybe the second, I believe it would be August 19th, the second meeting in August. But we'll discuss
All right,
that.
but anyway, your intention is to try to move to conclusion while it's still the summer, and
My intention is to get this project going as
yeah,
fast
no,
as possibly
but that's
can.
perfectly legitimate as your goal. I'm just saying that I want to be clear. The first time that I became involved really with Riverhead politics and process was on the question of EPCAL and the qualified and eligible hearing. EPCAL Watch spent a lot of time trying to convince the then board that there were serious problems with the Germasians, and we were ignored by a majority of that board. Had the board listened to us, we would not now have our land tied up in a legal mess that could go on for a long
Yeah,
time.
I'm sorry we didn't have your crystal ball, John.
Well, I'm just saying that the point I'm making is to say that you pushed and pushed very hard. I mean, you were the only continuity person, but the boards, there's a sort of momentum, an internalization of decision-making that pushes ahead regardless of what is being said. So I'm
Well,
just
this is
saying.
a little bit of a different scenario here. We have
Slightly.
someone that has proven himself to be committed to this community.
I agree, but people.
He has built and he has
Yeah,
stayed here.
Yeah, I agree, but people were equally enthusiastic and positive about the Germasians. I mean, I can go on with this, but my point is simply that I hope that in the course of this, that you look at the fundamental question, and this is the first time this fundamental question is being addressed, as to whether the town of Riverhead, the people of Riverhead, want to have a third hotel on Main Street. There's a rumor of a hotel further west to be built, which would be a wonderful project and would help to build up the West Main Street area. But I think there really needs to be a discussion among the public about whether they want a hotel. I have no objection to Mr. Petroselli personally. I wish he would come in with a two-story project that maintained crafted, as was in the original plan. Crafted was to be maintained in what the former supervisor said. It was to be maintained in the first comment that Dawn made. And
All right, John, you're well beyond 3 minutes. I'm going to ask you to cut it, and then you can come back up later.
Yeah, well, I definitely will. And I would like at that point, if I can, to connect my computer and my visuals to the screen the way, because of the whole problem with the Q&E process
John.
is we have an hour
Come on.
presentation, and then we have little bits
You
of.
can say all this when you come
Okay.
back up.
All right,
Thank
and
you.
can I put on the tech at that point? Can I?
No, we're not
hook my
soliciting
computer in?
advertisement for the town board meeting, John. Thank you.
Okay, only visuals on one side, not on the other
The
side.
visuals are
Okay.
by the people presenting the Q&E. You are not presenting the Q&E.
No, but I am
John.
wanting to talk about the damage
If I could.
to the
John.
vista.
If he has some kind of material submitted that he wants to be made part of the record, that can be submitted into the record,
Absolutely.
right? So if
Yep.
there's a presentation or a series of slides or something that you have that you want in the record, you're more than welcome to submit that into the record.
It isn't quite the same, but I'll do that.
Best you're gonna get.
My name is Melinda Topping. I live on Riverside Drive. I've lived there for over 40 years. I'm also a member of the First Congregational Church of Riverhead. I'm not speaking on behalf of my church in whatsoever, but that's the reason why I'm frequently in the parking lot on First Street in Riverhead. I want to know if the town board has given any consideration to the fact that this proposal is, from start to finish, is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 months. I'm assuming once that hotel is done, they're going to want to start to fill it up. I want to know if the town, what is the time frame, or what's the town board's consideration for the time frame to build the parking garage behind our church? Because I don't know how many of you have been in that parking lot on the weekend.
Okay, ma'am, I'm going to have to interrupt you. This is about a qualified and eligible hearing.
Well-
What you're talking about is a whole different box, okay? We're
Well,
talking
what I
about whether we
foresee
think this
is this-
entity is capable of building this project.
I
That's what this
foresee them
conversation is.
completing it, and I foresee the problem that is going to happen when there is no parking garage on First Place, because the land that you will be setting aside for the parks and playground areas and the access to the river will get rid of all parking, pretty much, on the south side that is directly behind the current Sweezy building. When the Suffolk Theater is running a full show on the weekends, many of those cars now park on the south side. When the hotel is full and there's 76 guests in the hotel, those cars will be on the north side, along with everyone who's trying to get in the Suffolk Theater, as well as the gym, as well as all the other things that are going on the north side of the street. My question is, when do you anticipate having a parking garage so people who might want to come to the playground could actually find a place to put their car to get there? That's my question.
Just going to remind people, this is a qualified and eligible hearing. That's what this is about. Questions? Do we have any questions for the developers about their qualified and the qualification and eligibility for them to perform this project?
Ron Hariri of Aquabog. I would just like to clarify that the financial documentation and other submissions to evidence this applicant's eligibility will be provided on the town's website. Is that true, Counselor?
Yes, that'll be submitted into the
And I
record.
would like a reasonable opportunity for the public to review and comment on that documentation.
So
I would
as the
submit that to have it in the middle of the summer, when many people may not be present, may be a hardship. So I again really suggest that it be sometime in early September or later in August, so we can digest this information and review it. And just to clarify, perhaps counsel to Mr. Petroselli can confirm, have you provided audited financial statements for the applicant, sir?
So all questions are going to be answered at the end. So like I said at the beginning of this, the public's going to come up, they're going to make their comments, they're going to ask their questions. Applicant and his team are taking notes, and they will have an opportunity to come up and respond to anything that they've heard during the course of that.
All right, then I would reserve my opportunity to comment on documentation and support until that is publicly available on the town's website, and we have a reasonable opportunity to review it.
So as indicated at the beginning, this is going to be closed, the public portion of this is going to be closed, subject to a written comment period that's going to be left open for 10 days. All right, so that's August 1st. And so any comment or additional information that residents or the applicant wants the board to consider, that should be submitted during that period of time, unless it's, for whatever reason, extended.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ed Purcell, I've been in Riverhead about 70 years. I think this should go through. I think the Petrosellis, they will do a very good job in comparison to some of the apartments that are on Main Street currently. So I think this would be good. To the Petrosellis, they have the parking on the north side of the railroad tracks for the aquarium.
On Ostrander, correct.
Right. Now, could that be part of the deal that they'll allow parking there on their lot when the aquarium isn't busy? That way, it is a walk, but it would help alleviate some of the problems by using their parking lot. Since they're going to do the building, they should do that so it'll mitigate some of it. And that could be part of the agreement so that there is more parking.
We'll have them answer that.
Yeah, well, that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yep.
Because when we had the Alive on 25, I parked back in there. Maybe it needs some lights or something. They could do that so it would mitigate, so you can actually see in there after dark. And that would also make it more safe for people to park there. And that would just be an addition, and it'd be minimal cost to them, but it would be a major help for the town of Riverhead.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ron Myers, not much of a public speaker, but I've been here for 42 years, and I remember Sweezy's, Woolworth. I remember when downtown Riverhead was downtown, and we lost that. And I remember when these gentlemen came to Riverhead, and because of the great work that they already done, Ford Magazine listed Riverhead as one of the 50 places that you should visit in 2023. So based on that, I say we give these gentlemen a chance to bring back Riverhead like it's never been brought back before. We've seen what West Hampton Beach has done, we've seen what Greenport has done, and we've seen what Patchogue has done. It's time that we stop being the laughing stock of Long Island and move forward with this plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Misolino Silva. I am from Vision, Long Island, and we are in support of the town of Riverhead moving forward with a master developer for the Town Square project in downtown Riverhead. In recent years, we have supported grant application for NYSDRI funding in the federal RAISE program to invest in this project and see it as an essential element to Riverhead's ongoing revitalization. The public space component for a playground and a splash pad are great for families. The amphitheater and boutique hotel will bring needed revenue to the community. Safe, walkable streets are important for everyone, and a parking garage will bring much-needed infrastructure into the downtown. This project should move ahead without delay. Special acknowledgement to the supervisor and members of the Town of Riverhead Board and staff for the work securing these funds and the state and federal officials that were involved as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, board members. Phil Barbado, Jamesport. Just one quick one. I would hope that you require the Petroselli organization to provide a meaningful estimate of what this project is going to cost the town during the construction and thereafter, in terms of police, waste removal, sewage treatment. We always look at the money coming in, but we never look at the money going out. And I would hope that you demand that that kind of information be provided as early as possible and given sincere consideration. We could end up with higher taxes for this for everybody in the town rather than a wonderful downtown area that makes money for the town. So please do that carefully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor and members of the town board. Richard Wines of Jamesport. Just to correct the record, I'm chair of the Landmarks Preservation Commission and not the town historian.
You
This
could
one-
be, though.
You are a Thank you.
I didn't second guess it.
I just want to say that the Landmarks Preservation Commission is delighted to see the town square and the hotel proposal because we believe this has the capability to complement and enhance the historic nature of downtown Riverhead. We've worked very closely with the Petroselli family over the last 2 decades, restoration first of the Preston House and then of the Howell House and finally of East Lawn, and they've really done wonderful things for preserving Riverhead's historic fabric in those places. I also wanted to speak specifically to the East End Arts Council, which has several of the most important historic buildings downtown. I think this project has the ability to enhance that by slightly shifting the buildings, giving them a little bit more air, getting them up out of the floodplain, reconfiguring them in a way that may be more useful. We've been working closely with the State Historic Preservation Office to make sure that this will not negatively impact their status as contributing buildings to the Downtown National Register District. So we see this as a very positive way to enhance the historic fabric of downtown Riverhead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots to say, but they won't stand up here.
Good evening, people. My name is Gina Ristow.
Ma'am, just pull the microphone down a little bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I've been a 43-year resident of
What's your name?
Aquabog, living in Riverhead area.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What's your name, ma'am? I'm sorry. Your name?
It's Gina Ristow. I'm here to voice deep concerns of a decision that could shape our town's future for decades. Mr. Petrocelli, you have done a nice job with the aquarium in the Preston House. I feel, though, that this town square project should be open to other bidders and invite competing visions that might better serve our community. I strongly oppose another 5-story building on Main Street. I thought the Suffolk Theater wanted to expand, and now I'm hearing that parking lot is going to be taken. One of the previous speakers had stated about visions that we have seen in our newspapers. They have shown artist renderings of lofts and beautiful walk-through areas and cafes. I have watched nice businesses like Parabello's, Michelangelo's, Ralph Ice's, the Blue Duck Bakery close after unsuccessful years. Why is that? You're proposing the new building downtown with just 12 parking spaces. I cannot imagine either of my adult daughters wanting to live in that environment, especially with the current types of people wandering around the streets after dark. You take a look at our wonderful Riverview lofts, is it? That started off with a vetting process, and now is predominantly Section 8. We have no key cards in that area. People come in and walk out. Take a look at Southold and Greenport. They put a lot of thought into what they were doing. Look at the variety of storefronts they have. What historic town has 5-story buildings on its main street? That's what I want to know. I Our parking is ridiculous downtown. Something needs to change. And as a town board, I expect you to be listening to the people. It is unfortunate that it is the summertime and more people are not present. Thank you.
I just want to clarify for the board quickly that the parking garage proposal as currently designed would not intrude upon the Suffolk Theater's proposed project, and the Riverhead Lofts does not contain any Section 8 housing.
Correct.
Thank you.
Also, I just want to add that with the Live on 25, when we have more people here than we do any other day or time of the year, the Suffolk Theater ran a successful night at the theater, and there's 280 parking spaces right outside these windows, and those spaces were used and some were cordoned off for Suffolk Theater. So it will all work out, and nobody ever said this is going to be without growing pains, but you don't get better by being stagnant. That's all I want to say.
And again, this is qualified and eligible.
I agree.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Mark Woolley from Riverhead. Today I'm here to be heard, not to question. For all of the questions being posed to you today lead to but one conclusion. What we're seeing today is another giveaway of our property with our assets. Unfortunately, there are other such examples, all in the guise of progress, but they are way too many to enumerate here today. So standing before us is your so-called master developer in a deal that nets him more public money for another of his private ventures. You ask that he be entrusted with our tax dollars for another subsidized urban renewal cabal. Those of us here today, the 1%,
Oh, I'm glad that you read my
understand that what is
Facebook
proposed, please don't interrupt. Understand that what is proposed makes no fiscal sense. And yet we are here as part of your high-stakes game of chance. To that we say, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yet, what's important for your master developer to understand is my family's been here 60 years. As far as they're concerned and I'm concerned, there's no need to make Riverhead great again. It's already great. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Barbara Ripple. I have a PhD in history, and I concentrate on people. Unfortunately, most of the time, you all went to history classes and learned names, dates, and places, but it's really about people. What I heard through much of this conversation was money, and I understand that's a big word today. Money, 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 and that's what it's all about. The second thing was tourists, and that got a lot of attention too. What happened to the people of Riverhead? People, the residents. Are you taking, this 5-story building on Main Street? There's these big, beautiful buildings jumping up everywhere. Is that good for the residents? Is all this other stuff good for the residents? Was our taxes going to just drop into nothing? I don't think so. So I think you ought to really consider what this is going to happen. Where will Riverhead go? Up or down? And by the way, I'm personally insulted to the comment about the brain drain here. I have a PhD, I'm a professional. Almost all my friends are professionals, and almost all of them live in Riverhead.
Good evening, Angela DeVito, South Jamesport. As I sat down to prepare for this evening, one of the only document that was available to us publicly was the 130-page proposed contract between the Town of Riverhead, CDA, and an LLC called J. Petroselli Riverhead Town Square Project LLC. This is an LLC that has just recently been filed with the New York State Department of State in May of 2025. So this evening, I came here prepared to hear information about financials and experience for this LLC. Instead, I was treated to a great history. There is no doubt that Petroselli family has done magnificent things all over Long Island. But this is not the LLC that we are going to be entering into a contract with. We are not entering into a contract with J. Petroselli Enterprises. It is this specific LLC, and we don't have the information about that LLC's finances and experience in development projects anywhere, whether it be here in Riverhead, upstate New York, in the city of New York, in Canada, anywhere in the United States. So I would respectfully ask that you do not close this hearing this evening, because the information that has also just been presented does not allow us an opportunity to ask questions and have discussion and dialogue, which is part of what a public hearing on qualified and eligible should be about. What we will be able to do is write in comments, but not ask questions, so that we can act in a reasonable and responsible manner as residents of this town. So I would respectfully ask that you do not close the hearing this evening, and you have a 30-day period in which people can come back and have their questions answered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Evening, Claudette Bianco, Baiting Hollow. I just have a quick question. While the presentation was dynamic and the plans are very, very well done, like Angela just said, there's no financial information. That's the eligible part of qualified and eligible. You've proven that you're qualified, but we haven't seen anything that says you're eligible. And from what you've done in the past, your other projects, clearly you're very good at what you do. I wonder why it is that you felt it necessary to put a provision in the agreement guaranteeing you IDA benefits. Your project is going to use our town resources: fire, emergency, water, sewage, police. I don't understand why you feel the need that you need to get these tax abatements. And frankly, as a taxpayer, I'd like a tax abatement too. I just wonder why that was possible, that they had to put that in there, why they felt the necessary to put that in there. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one person online. We'll take that person now. No longer online? Okay. Do we have anybody else who would like to come up and comment?
200 years.
Oh, we got somebody else back online?
Nobody?
Marty,
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Thank
we
you.
can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, Martin Senlewski, Roanoke Avenue, Riverhead. I'm also the chair of the Riverhead Parking Advisory Committee. very glad that you're going to put all the information on online for us to review. One question would be, and you don't have to check it now, I'm sure the information will be online. In the budget that is provided for the hotel, is there a parking rental fee included in their budget for the hotel annually? In the seeker referral of December, as well as the final seeker finding statement that was adopted with the neg deck in March, it indicated that there would be possibly a rental of parking for the hotel. Now, just for the record, the hotel is in the parking district and ironically would not be required to provide parking. That's whether that's good or bad or a good business decision is one thing. But realistically, I know that they are looking to basically reserve or utilize specific parking within the district, which goes beyond what the parking district offers to its taxpayers. So there should be some type of a budgetary item within their annual operating budget that you must consider. Also, with the discussion of the hotel and all of the other items that come about with relative to that, including parking, obviously, and the future of parking downtown, it would seem that the approval of the hotel should be something that's either a requirement or a contingency of the designation of the master developer. That's all I have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I would ask at this point in time, Councilor Russo and your team, if you would like to come up and address some of these issues or the issues that were presented tonight. Yeah, Mr. Russo, let me do that. I'm sorry, I didn't see anybody else getting up, so I assume. Go ahead, John. No problem.
Thanks. John McAuliffe, Rolling Woods, Roanoke Landing. I started to say that I think, and I hope you take Angela's recommendation seriously and put a 30-day rather than a 10-day time period for comments, since there is a lot of material that we've heard for the first time, and looking at it in writing is different even than hearing it. But there is an inherent imbalance because the presenters are professionally staffed and have an unlimited amount of time, and the questions are highly time-limited and choppy. It's very hard. I mean, I will say as much as you'll let me say, but I want to pick up on a couple of things that have not been said. I think that it was said in an earlier discussion that the hotel rooms were the best economic benefit for the town. I don't think that's the point. The point is what we want the town square to look like. That's really what this hearing is about because of the way things have been jumbled together. I think economically you can also argue that a more open town square is to the economic benefit of the kind of townscape that is created. There's several very direct costs to people of Riverhead, and maybe from your viewpoint, they're small costs, but I think they're real costs. One is the destruction of Crafted. And they, as I said, in both the former supervisor and in Dawn's comments at an earlier stage, it was said that they were going to be able to continue, that building would continue. There is also, Mr. Petroselli talked about maintaining the Swayze's history. I haven't seen it, but I'm told there is an inlaid floor on the second floor of that building that has Swayze's name on it. I don't know if that can be preserved and put into your restaurant, but I think it's one reason to actually keep the building as it is. Sean may find another home, but in the course of it, he will have disrupted his patronage and the habits.
All right, John, let me keep you on track for the Q&E, please.
Okay. Second question is the East End Arts Council has been referred to. They will be forced to pack and move twice at taxpayer cost. And,
Grant money's paying for that, John.
okay, well, that's still taxpayers.
They've also submitted a letter
I'm,
in support
I'll
of
be
this.
interested in reading the letter
It's
and
online.
whether that's a letter based on inevitability or preference. If you'd asked them straight out, would they rather stay where they are, you might have gotten a
It's
different.
been submitted to the town.
Yeah, I'm wondering
Anyway,
because their new stuff won't be flooded or anything else once this is done, because this is
The
a
reason
flood
for them
mitigation
being
project.
moved is the flooding problem could be dealt with in a different way than moving them. But the reason they're being moved is to provide more space for the hotel. That's very clear in the contract. The Suffolk County Historical Museum, we talked about it at the last board meeting, that they had hoped to be going into the Griffin Avenue. They're now
John,
going to be
Q&E only,
delayed
please.
by 2 or 3 years. But I'm talking about the Q&E, that there are costs in the way you're approaching it at this point. The loss of the physical land on both sides, I think, is problematic. I have great respect for Richard Wine's comment, but the Art Center is now going to be between 2 5-story buildings and is going to be in their shadow literally and figuratively. The question of the history, I have already written some of it in the News Review and in the local, and I will put that all in to your formal documentation. But I think that there in fact is not a history of consultation with people about the basic question of, do they want to have a third hotel taking
All
up
right, John, I'm
part
going to
of
have to
the space?
cut your time off because you've gone way over. And first of all, you're not sticking with the Q&E questions. And I've mentioned it a couple times to you, so I'm going to ask you to wrap it up now. Thank you.
All right, well, let me just say finally one thing, since you don't allow now handing out pieces of paper at meetings, if
You
anyone.
can hand that paper in as you were told
No, this
previously.
is, I mean, to the people who are here. Anyone who is interested in participating in the poll or participating in the petition, I'll be outside afterwards with the links and people can do it. But again, I hope that you follow the other, I mean, I'll put other things in the written
Okay.
comments, but I think this inherent imbalance makes it very hard to actually have a full discussion and conversation about what a project means, so, but that's the way you want to.
Okay, we have one online. We will take that one online.
Good evening, Mike Foley, Reeves Park. Can you hear me okay, Tim?
We can hear you, Mike.
Greg, I'm not there. I'm away on a wonderful vacation, but I was really interested in the presentation and interested in the comments, especially the people that are really civically involved in downtown. And, I heard Cindy, and I've heard a few other people. I just want to start with, I'm going to stipulate that Joe Petroselli is not only qualified and eligible, but I'm thankful for what he's done for our downtown, along with Bob Castaldi, who renovated the Suffolk Theater. So here we are in another phase where urban designers and Barry Long spent a lot of time and got a lot of input. There are probably, I'd say probably 20 people from my small community in Reeves Park that were in these discussions about what downtown should look like. And the fact of the matter is, my family's here 70 years. I'm 72 years old, so I'm kind of 75 years actually. I'm 72. So, I've spent my summers here my whole life, and now I'm a full-time resident here. Downtown Riverhead is better now than it's ever been. And I think in no small part because Bob Castaldi took a shot and the Suffolk Theater came in, and things have happened since then. And I'm thankful that Barry Long put the urban design team together and that the town board allowed it to go forward. And what we're looking at right now is the next step in the development of downtown. My problem, and again, I'll stipulate, Joe Petroselli, you're qualified, you're eligible, and I'm thankful you were involved in the project. My concern, and Tim, cut me off if I'm wrong, because this is all for qualified and eligible, because I've already stipulated that they are. But my concern is with the federal funding conundrum that we're in right now. And I'm sure that Dawn can add some answers to the questions that I hope Joe and Dawn have a chance to answer. Where money, federal money, grant money that we were anticipating for the development of the town square has been taken away. And it's my understanding, and believe me, I'm not a subject matter expert, but that a federal program called RAISE still has, somewhere between 15 and $20 million committed to the town square project. My concern, and Joe, again, you might not be a good public speaker, but as far as I'm concerned, you've got credibility in my book. My concern is how we proceed without damaging what we have now. And Crafted has been mentioned once in passing. But Crafted's a successful business. They own Cucina 25, where I get food delivered at least once a week. The best Italian food in Riverhead. Maybe I'll get a free pizza from that, you never know. But to see them moved at the initial stage of this, when we have issues that might delay the culmination of the town square, is concerning to me. And I would ask Joe, and I would ask Dawn, would it be possible for us to get things going with the town square project without gutting the Crafted and starting the hotel project? There was actually, somebody had mentioned that they expect there's going to be somewhere about 14 months of construction, and that Joe's group is going to have 10 years maintaining the town square, which, by the way, I think is great. I don't think anybody would be more qualified and eligible to maintain something for 10 years as to the person that builds it. So I'm totally in favor of that. And Joe certainly's got enough street cred with me to say that I trust this guy to do it. But Joe, I'll ask you, and Dawn, I'll ask you, with the federal money right now, that in my mind is up in the air, could the federal clawback of funds delay this project to the extent that the hotel would be built before the town square would be built? I'm concerned about that. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have anybody online? No. Okay.
So, Mr. Supervisor, so Dawn isn't here, but I'm told that the federal funding won't affect the town square project because the federal funding isn't sort of tagged for any of those projects. That money is tagged for streetscapes and for the parking garage.
Right. Dawn has assured us that the money from the federal government that's earmarked for this project has not been affected by any grants being reverted back from the current president.
Not yet. My name is Lori Lauterbach. I've owned a property in Aquabog for over 30 years, even though for the first 20 years of that, I was going back and forth to Manhattan, but spending all my weekends and vacations here. As long as I've been aware, there's been this talk of the revitalization project. I'm on the board of East End Arts, and of course, I know now some of the issues that are going to affect them. And I came here with a relatively open mind, since I'm not really vested one way or the other. But I find you, Mr. Hubbard, has been favoring the people you know and the people who you agree with. They're able to go over the 3 months, the 3 minutes, I'm sorry.
I have let everybody go over the 3 months,
No.
3
And
minutes,
then
so be correct in
also,
your statements.
You insist on some of the other people that don't agree with you to keep to the fact of what you're calling the Q and E, the
Correct.
qualifications.
That's correct.
And you're not giving the rest of the people the same consideration. I find that abominable. But
And-
thank you for letting me talk.
Totally disagree with you. One online or no? Nobody online. We have somebody else coming up? Okay.
Good evening, Town Supervisor and Board. Kevin Shea, Baiting Hollow. I only have 3 questions. Since there's going to be a Q&A, I might get a response. One, it was the underground parking lot. You could probably explain to me as a firefighter. We deal with floods as well, like in New York City, and you said this is a floodplain, so if it's going to be underground, maybe you can explain how the underground won't turn into another aquarium. That's number one. I'm not insulting you and saying, I'm just curious. Number 2, to the board, obviously the 7% fee. I just want to know if that's going to go towards the levy that would help reduce the property tax that's coming up next year. That would be a question for you. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Angela DeVito again. You know, the longer you sit, the more questions you come up with. Is there any part of this project that is going to require the master developer to enact our apprenticeship language clauses? Are we looking towards that at any part of this whatsoever?
I'll have them answer that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing nobody and nobody online, I will turn it over to the master developers team.
Mr. Supervisor, what we will do is I will let the architect address the plain issues and the development proposals that we've gotten to this point with Barry Long and the various consultants from the town. And then we'll move from there. So, Mr. Our architect's coming forward.
Okay.
Andrew Jambertone again for the applicant. So what we did with the floodplain in the back and the parking garage is that as you drive down to the parking garage, you're actually driving uphill. There's a crest at the entrance to the garage, and then it slopes down. And the elevation of that crest is set where it will avoid flooding for up to 70% of the anticipated floods over 50 years. So that was taken into account, mitigating the pitch of the driveway from Heidi Bear Way up to the hotel when it's finished. It's important to note that this design didn't emanate from Mr. Petroselli or his group. The concept of the town square was a result of tremendous outreach from between the town, the Community Development Agency, and support and assistance from Urban Design Associates. They had numerous workshops where they enlisted and encouraged public comment and support, and the concept of a town square was a direct result of that effort. It wasn't something that was proposed to the town by Mr. Petroselli or anyone. It was a result of community outreach and trying to determine what would be the best use of that property. So this didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened with a tremendous amount of outreach to the community, with the support of Urban Design Associates and Barry Long in particular, and it's been a long road. This hasn't happened overnight. They developed a pattern book that spoke to the need for activation on Main Street, and although we're not seeing the results of it yet, all you have to do is look at Mineola, look at Lindenhurst, look at Patchogue, and see the tremendous economic revitalization resulting from the development of apartments in those downtown areas. And you'll see that in time to come, it will prove to be true here as well. Thank
Thank you.
And sir, wasn't this also with involvement from the Army Corps of Engineers? The involvement in this as far as coastal floodplain mitigation for this
Yes,
whole area?
there was an extensive investigation by the Army Corps of Engineers. They projected what the potential flood would be at different increments, and it was decided that if this building was going to be built and the square was going to be built, it would be built in such a way that it would be free of the concern of flood mitigation once we got up to elevation 12, which is at the backside, the waterfront of the town square.
Thank you.
Mr. Supervisor, members of the board, if you recall, in the beginning of the presentation, we recited and pointed out the source of funds for the particular project. We indicated that they were creating an LLC, as it is a separate entity from all of the other entities that the Petroselli family has been working with and through, that their companies would be employed by the LLC to undertake the project. We pointed out that there was a construction loan anticipated of 60% of the costs, because the projections for the cost was $32,672,889. We indicated that the developer was putting in equity between Joseph Petroselli and his brother John Petroselli, that they were putting forward 36% of the source of funds to the tune of $12,069,155, which is in the booklet that we provided you. We also indicated that there was $1 million in a grant that was awarded in 2024 to go towards the construction of this project, which we still hold and has not been clawed back, which gave you the 100% funding of $32,672,889 against the use of funds and the source of funds that would be provided to create the project. So in terms of the financials, we then went through and talked about the lending institutions, and there are 3 at the present time that are in talking to the family and the Petroselli organization about funding the project. In addition to that, we had their banking representation and their accountant writing his statement citing how they were financially solvent and how many years they've worked with them and where they are. The next question, which seems to keep coming up, is the issue of the IDA. The applicant has not addressed or made a decision nor made application for the IDA. And as this board knows, and it's a well-known fact, the application for IDA is handed by a separate board that reviews financials, discusses what they're seeking for, whether it's mortgage recording tax, whether it's a pilot, and whether or not it's sales and use tax. Sales and use tax is an important element here, because in the development and as a consideration, it terms and flows on materials and what type of materials may be chosen to construct the project. If they should elect to go and apply for IDA financing, they haven't made that decision, and there's nothing in any of the agreements that we've entered into with the town other than saying it is something that the applicant can consider if it's determined that it's necessary. No application has been made to date, and that's not a subject of tonight's hearing. The hearing is qualified and eligible through finances and experience. I think through the documents we provided you, which we'll put online, they clearly see that we are qualified, that we are eligible financially as well as from a construction vantage point. The other concerns, as were coming up again and again, seem to again focus on what the project is going to look like and how it will benefit the town. Again, that was, as Mr. Jambertone pointed out, that's something that came back as a result of the town's inquiry and public comment over the last 2-year period to get us to this point. The rest of the issues that were raised, I believe we have addressed through our earlier presentation. I leave it at that at this point.
Counsel, I just have a question. It was mentioned earlier that somebody said that the LLC that is being formed to do this project was just formed in May of '25, and the monies that were shown to us and the funding are representative of other LLCs? I know new LLCs are formed as new partnerships are done with each particular project, but maybe you could just explain that a little better for the
Well,
public?
as I indicated, the funding for the LLC is going to come from the lending institution as a result of reviewing the finances of John Petroselli and Joe Petroselli. They're also indicating in their proposal that they're putting forward 12 million and change. So the bank is going to consider them as to whether or not they're financially viable in terms of where they're going and what they're doing, and they're going to look at the quality of the project and the materials, the development, the timeline, which he's outlined to you in the proposal here this evening. So, yes, the LLC was formed in May as part of the negotiations. We've been in negotiations through our counsel that assisted me, which is William Burney, who's here this evening from Burney, Liebman, and Ross, and that's been going on from late October, early November, through and until about a month ago. So the agreement that is being considered and before you this evening is encompassing all of that. If you need to, there was no, and let me make this perfectly clear, that discussion and negotiation as to the agreement had nothing to do with the town board as an entity. It was between the town attorney, deputy town attorney Anne Marie Prudenti, and our counsel, myself, and Mr. Burney, who's here this evening. There was no collusion or no inference that the town board had any favoritism to this. It was a complete negotiation, and it was a very rigorous negotiation for that process. So at this point, we wait and see what your determination is based on the information we've provided. If you think that more information is necessary, I'm sure that Eric Howard and Anne Marie Prudenti will come back to us and say we need something further. But at this point, we tried to establish our reputation based on our finances, based on the monies that they would put forward, as well as the construction experience, which is there for eligible and qualified. Unless you have any other questions, I have nothing else to offer at this time.
Board, do you have any questions?
Good.
Then I thank you, and we appreciate the opportunity to be before you this evening on behalf of Mr. Petroselli and our team.
Thank you.
Thank you for your consideration.
I just want the public to know this thing about IDA and taxes. Currently, there are no taxes on that building because the town owns the building. Just want to clear that up.
Jim, did you have something you wanted to say?
Okay.
Jim,
Go ahead.
did you?
Did you have
The
something?
building we're talking about is the
I
building
did.
that's going to become the hotel.
I was compelled to just as straight as the facts are.
Okay, at this point in time, I will make a motion to close the public hearing, but keep it open for 10 days. We're done. We already took a call for all of them. We will keep it open for 10 days for written comment, and this will also give the board time to digest what we were given tonight. And so the written comment portion will be open until August 1st, 2025. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and have a safe ride home. And
Motion so moved?
make a motion to close the special town board hearing.
I make a
motion to close.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.